Bachenberg, president of the National Rifle Association. You live in Pennsylvania. What were the circumstances that brought you here?
Larry, I had a high-tech company over in New Jersey near Flemington. And back in 1999, Pennsylvania was looking to recruit high-tech companies to Pennsylvania, and they recruited us over to the Lehigh Valley.
What were you doing, Bill, when you relocated to Pennsylvania? What stage were you at in your life?
Well, the company was, I believe, 19 years old. We were what they called a Hewlett-Packard systems integrator. We built large computer systems for a lot of the Fortune 1000 companies in the Northeast and quite a few companies around the world. And when we moved to Pennsylvania, we morphed the company into a disaster recovery and computer hosting company. And we grew that into the largest regional hosting company in the Northeast here and sold the company back in 2012.
So you've been here in Pennsylvania for 26 years. What is it you like about living in Pennsylvania?
Well, PA has a good lifestyle here. We're in the Lehigh Valley, so we're about an hour and a half from New York City, a little over an hour from Philadelphia. So if you want to go into the cities, it's close by, yet we're removed from there. And I've got a shooting range just right outside of Allentown. So within 10 minutes of Allentown, you're out into some of the rural areas. So Pennsylvania has been good to us.
Tell me more about that shooting range in Allentown, Bill. How did that come about?
We don't have a whole lot of time on the radio or TV here, but back in late 90s, I was shooting there. I still lived in Jersey. I came across the river and was shooting some fundraisers here for a local hospital. And when I moved to Pennsylvania, I started coming more often, but the facility was for sale. And I bought the property. I bought the business in 2000. And for the next 5-6 years, just rebuilt it from the ground up. There was nothing here. And now we're one of the top sporting clay ranges in the country. We've got a paved course, which is very unusual. When we paved it back probably about 15 more years ago, we made it completely wheelchair accessible. So we were the first wheelchair accessible range in the country for sporting clays. And it's amazing to see the young folks coming out with their grandparents shooting, learning to shoot clays, and the number of women that we have coming out. So we call it golf with a shotgun. We've got a country club-like atmosphere, but we're open to the public.
And tell me more about the experience of visiting a shooting range in general, Bill. Some of our viewers have never been to something like that. Tell them what they can see there if they were to go today.
Well, if you came today, we are similar to a country club. We've got a really nice clubhouse. We've got nice restrooms. We've got friendly atmosphere. There's picnic benches on the porch of the clubhouse. And then because we shoot sporting clays, it's different than trap and skeet. That's two other shotgun sports. We walk around a course that's about a mile long. And we walk to these different stations like you would with golf. And at each station, you will shoot 4 to 6 clay targets. And it's supposed to simulate hunting. So the targets are coming straight up from the ground. They're rolling across the ground. They're coming at you. They're coming out from under your feet. And it's simulating hunting type sport. It's pretty neat because we change our course every week. We make subtle changes to it. We have folks that come out from Long Island, from New York City, from Delaware every week to shoot with their friends. So it's also a social atmosphere in addition to just being in the great outdoors. And we're open year round.
Well, it sounds like an exciting place with those changes taking place on a regular basis.
It is. It keeps it fresh because, we've got folks been coming 20 plus years. And even during COVID or when the gas prices went up, instead of coming every week, they came every other week and shot 200 clay targets instead of 100. So they still got the number of birds in. And right after we were allowed to open back up after COVID, we were packed because people wanted to get back into the outdoors. And we fall under, recreational outdoors. So we sort of were under the golf club type restrictions.
Bill, will you tell us about your family? I take it you don't live far from this shooting range in Allentown?
No, we actually live right on the property.
Oh, is
So
that so? So your home
yeah,
is right there in the same property as the shooting range. Pretty convenient.
it is. I mean, right now, I can hear them shooting across the lake. We have a lake that separates us here, and you know, we got a back way to go from the house over to the range. And I've got twin boys that are now 17, and they do a lot of shooting with their friends. My one son shoots competitively and just got back from Ohio a couple of weeks ago with what they call the clay target program, and Scholastic Clay Target Program. And that's got over 3,000 kids that showed up, young adults that showed up in Ohio 2 weeks ago for the championship. And what a lot don't understand, we had one of our young ladies that was shooting on the Scholastic Clay Target Program. She got a full scholarship to college. She was one of the top shooters in the state. And so there is college available to shooting, and it's becoming more and more of a competitive sport in colleges.
Bill, especially given your convenient access to the shooting range, how often are you over there? Regularly, maybe once a week?
Well, never own your passion.
What
Somebody
kind of
told me that years
complications
ago.
does that lead to?
Well, you don't get to shoot that often. It's more, business issues. And then I enjoy being on the skid steer or the backhoe, making improvements, doing things to make it new and refreshing. So I have as much fun sitting on the backhoe or the skid steer, making improvements as I do shooting. But I do get over there to shoot. I wish they'd be there more, but I have a group of other businesses, and now with the NRA presidency, it's taking a lot more time.
Now, you told me about your twin boys, Bill. Can you tell me about the rest of the family?
Sure. My wife is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. She was 21 years. I believe it was both Iraqi wars and the Bosnia peacekeeping mission. She flew in the back of an AWACS, so she ran the air war from the back of a AWACS. And we met late in life. So I got married fairly late, and we've got a great family now. And my brother, he works for me at the clay range. He does all the maintenance and mechanical repairs. And my sister still works for my old technology company.
Let's talk some more about your twin boys, Bill, especially since they like to handle firearms and they like to hunt. What kind of game do they go after?
It's funny. I say, when I sold the company back in 2012, if you win the Super Bowl, you go to Disney. I sold the company and I went to South Africa hunting. So that was my first time doing, large game out of country. And my boys have been blessed. They've been to South Africa twice. We just got back from New Zealand back in May hunting, and they love to hunt with their bows. They're at 17. They're extremely accomplished bow hunters, and they can shoot a rifle out to a mile. We've got a range up at one of my other locations that's got a range, and we've got a Liberty Bell at 1776 yards. So if you can hit the bell, you're ringing for freedom. So they love shooting. They love fishing. My one son builds custom knives. Unbelievable quality. He's been doing that since he's been about 14. And when we donate them to nonprofits for fundraisers, they go between $12,000 and $15,000 because they're very exceptional knives that he's building. And my other son's been a volunteer firefighter since he's been 14, and he's got all the certifications now. So when he turns 18, he'll be able to actually, fight a fire. And he's now getting into his own business that he's looking to start.
Tell me more about your experience, your adventure in Africa. What kind of big game did you come face to face with?
That was a lion hunt for lion, Cape buffalo, which is actually one of the most dangerous game in Africa, and darted a rhino. And rhinos, as you know, are an endangered species. So by darting the rhino, We get to take the DNA, blood samples from them, check on the herd health and everything, and it helps with the conservation efforts.
We're going to talk about your vision for the NRA very soon, but since we're already talking about guns and weapons in general, you personally, when did you start to handle firearms? Maybe somebody in the family influenced you?
Yeah, actually, I just got done with another interview. I was probably 11 or 12, and my dad had some friends that were hunters, small game hunters, and they took me out the first time, and they sort of took me under their wing. And I learned bird hunting from them. I actually say I was their dog because they'd say, "See that sticker bush over there? Well, there's a rabbit in there. Go chase it out." And, I didn't know any better. I went in there to chase the rabbit out. But had a great childhood of hunting. I had a 22 under my bed. I used to take it out and shoot groundhogs on the farm. Groundhogs are very destructive to the animals. If they step in a hole and break their legs, unfortunately, we'd have to dispatch the animal. And we just had a lot of groundhogs that I shot, and became very proficient with my little 22 with iron sights on it, shooting groundhogs. That was my first into guns and hunting.
As we record this, Bill, you've only been the new president of the NRA for a few months. So let's consider your previous experience. You're the new president, but you're not new to the NRA, are you? You were a vice president.
That's correct. I joined the board back in 2003. I was elected by the members across the country back then, and that was very close to when I got married to my wife. I remember she just got released from Saudi Arabia. She was the first squadron released after the war, and she flew from, I think it was Saudi to Cyprus, Cyprus to New England, New England to Maine, from Maine to Oklahoma City, and then flew down to Florida to our annual meeting down there. And she was exhausted, and everyone just wanted to know, her perspective of what happened with the war there. So I joined in 2000, got elected 2003 to the board, and was a board member. Noticed there was, we've been having some problems, as has been reported in the press, and started doing a lot of research and investigation, and realized that we really needed a change of leadership back last year. And a group of us called the Patriot Group put together some leadership members here, and we ran for the board. And my understanding, it was the first time in 153 years that leadership got elected from the floor that didn't come from the nominating committee. So we picked up the first vice president and the second vice president. And then Doug Hamlin was elected to our executive vice president, CEO, that actually runs the day-to-day operations of the organization.
Bill, we certainly want to talk about some changes you have in mind for the NRA, but let's take a step back in the story of the NRA, especially for the benefit of our viewers who have never handled firearms. Just what is the NRA and why does it exist?
Well, this dates back to 1871, right after the Civil War. The Union generals realized that the Union soldiers weren't proficient with firearms. It took over 1,000 rounds of a Union soldier to hit a Confederate. That's historic facts there. So the Union soldiers founded the NRA to teach firearm proficiency, shooting. And that started back in 1871. And through the years, NRA has been teaching safety and marksmanship with shooting sports. It was only about 50 years ago when NRA got involved on the political scene, called the Institute of Legislative Action. And ILA was founded 50 years ago this year to help preserve our Second Amendment, because we were getting attacked from all sides from the gun ownerships.
You said, Bill, that you got politically active about 50 years ago. So tell me more about the circumstances that made the NRA more politically active back then. What were some of the forces that were opposing you?
Well, you had the Gun Control Act of 1968. There was the National Firearms Act also that happened back in the 30s. So it was just more restriction. You look what's happening around the world. I just read yesterday where Australia is, worked on banning guns. And what have they switched to? Instead of using guns now, they were using machetes. So now there's drop boxes in Australia to collect machetes, or now they're illegal because the criminals have switched then from a gun to a machete. So, if there's evil in somebody's mind, it doesn't matter whether it's a gun, it can be a gallon of gasoline, it can be a car, it can be almost anything today. So, we've got a mental health problem in this country. And look at Pennsylvania. Most of our mental health hospitals have been closed. I think there's 3 left, if I recall. So there's very little help. And there's a lot going on with the drugs that are out there and the stress of everything. So bigger efforts got to be put on mental health. And if you look at all the problems we've had with mass or large shootings, it all comes down to a lot of them mental health that's been known. The law enforcement agencies have known about it, or the military knew about it, and information wasn't passed through the system correctly, and these people fell through the cracks.
As far as you're concerned, Bill, what's the big issue for your membership in Harrisburg right now?
Right now, there's 2 big issues. One is the suppressor situation. We got
What is that, Bill? What's
Congress.
a suppressor?
A suppressor is a device that goes on the end of a gun that reduces the muzzle noise.
So you can call it a silencer, too.
Well, you can't call it a silencer
because
Hollywood. No, you can't. It doesn't silence it at all. It takes about 30 dB off the sound of a gun, which still has a very large sound. 130 dB roughly is what it reduces the sound to. So, Hollywood has built that misconception that, you put a suppressor on the end of a gun and it's a silencer and it goes toot, toot, when it's as loud as a firecracker with the suppressor on. And, we just got back from New Zealand and it's pretty much mandatory to hunt with a suppressor in New Zealand. Most of Europe, it's good sportsmanship to shoot with a suppressor because of the noise. But it is extremely loud. You're not disguising the gun of going off as Hollywood portrays it to be. So suppressors are in over 40 states approved to be used for target practice. Some states allowed for hunting. We did get that passed through Congress that they took it from a $200 tax down to a $0 tax. And the president signed it. We just filed a lawsuit on Friday that, according to the Supreme Court of the United States and to the taxation boards, is you can't have a tax on something when it's $0. So now that a suppressor is at $0, it should not be regulated. It should be regulated under as a gun. So when you sell a gun, and we sell guns at our sporting clay range, predominantly shotguns, you have to fill out a government form called a 4473. And the 4473 asks all your pertinent information of where you live. And then, do you have mental health deficiencies? Do you have drug use? Do you have a discharge, a negative discharge from the military? So it's a pretty comprehensive form that then goes to the Pennsylvania State Police for approval when we sell a gun, and they do a background check. With the suppressors currently, you have to go and fill out additional paperwork through the National Firearms Act. You used to have to pay $200 and then wait 6 months as they did another background check on you. And you got a stamp that has piece of paper that needs to follow that suppressor. So if I take it out shooting, I have to have this piece of paper with me that I've been licensed to have it. The proposed lawsuit would be making it qualify as a gun, and then you'd have to go through the background check. What's interesting is you could buy a suppressor in New Zealand for $400, and that same suppressor here is about $1,200. So it would go a long ways, especially during hunting season, to reduce the sound that's out there and protect your hearing.
Bill, let's talk some more about your vision for the NRA as the new president. A lawsuit found that your predecessor misused NRA funds. How does that set the stage for you being president?
It's going to create a lot of work to rebuild trust with our members. It was an unfortunate period of time. Our executive vice president at the time was taking private charter flights, was using vendor yachts, was excessively spending our donors' money and our members' money, and that's totally unacceptable. And he did have to pay restitution for that. It did go to the court system, and the jury found certain parts of that true, and he did pay restitution on that. But I like to use history repeats itself. We're not going to let history repeat itself, right? We've now put in significant compliance training for the board, compliance training for our staff. There's all new policies and procedures. We've built a really great whistleblower program. So anonymously, if somebody sees something going wrong, I constantly talk to my board members about not only on the compliancy side of it, but New York nonprofit law, which we fall under, you have a duty of obedience, a duty of loyalty, and a duty of care, are very specific to manage the organization's assets and money and be loyal to the members. And that's a whole new thinking now that's been permeated through the whole organization. It's funny, when I testified in front of the judge, I said, you can even go into the bathrooms where the urinals are, and there's a sign on the wall for whistleblower, the 800 number. So we've done a great job. As they say, the pendulum swung too far the liberal way there, and now we're very, very strong on our compliance, and I feel confident. I wrote to a member last night that I can guarantee him that nothing's going wrong right now. We've got all the safeguards in place, and I'm extremely confident with what we've done. And it's been a lot of hard work, and we've been working on shoring that up for about the last 3 or 4 years once things came to light.
Bill, Penn Live reports that 2/3 of gun owners support laws that take guns away from people who may pose danger to themselves or others. And as you know, these are usually referred to as red flag laws. What's the NRA's position?
Well, the red flag laws are really a slippery slope. You're right. I mean, there are certain individuals that need to have dangerous, whether it's guns, knives, even automobiles, taken away from them. But a lot of times you find out that they're using these red flag laws for personal gain. A wife is not happy with her husband, could claim anything that, he threatened me, and lose the guns. And there's no new due process. I mean, you need a good due process for these red flag laws. And a lot of times they're just not in place. So it is a slippery slope. And that's why we've opposed them basically on that. Unless you can come up with a great way to protect both sides, it's I don't have that answer for you. It's just a slippery slope that we need to address.
Bill, you read the same news as I do. What is the NRA doing to protect the public from gun violence?
Well, what we do is we talk about starting out in elementary school. We have a program called Eddie Eagle. Over 23 million kids from across the country. And in some states, it's required training in the elementary schools about Eddie Eagle is stop, don't touch, run away, and tell an adult. And that's if they see a gun, to make sure they don't touch it. We've got programs from there on up on gun safety. We have over 100,000 firearm instructors and those instructors help teach safe gun handling and proficiency with a gun. We promote safe storage. Right, I've got kids, since they were young till today. All the guns are in gun safes. You need to protect. You've got a obligation as an adult, if you own a gun, to safely store it. And that's been my policy. That's been NRA's policy. And there's phenomenal amount of products on the market today that you can put a gun in and have access to it without having the kids break into it or take it out. So we've been doing a lot. There's no other organization, any anti-gun organization, that teaches anything about gun safety. So, we're the leaders in that area. And there's a lot of other groups that do that too. And gun clubs promote it. State associations promote safe gun handling.
Here's an issue that's being debated in Harrisburg currently. We have limited Sundays for hunting, emphasis on limited, but there's talk of lifting a ban on Sunday hunting altogether. That seems to be a possibility. And what's the NRA's stand on Sunday hunting?
Well, Sunday hunting in Pennsylvania, I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago, was approved for 3 days of Sunday hunting. Just a couple of weeks ago, it now was approved for year-round Sunday hunting. So now Sunday hunting is approved in Pennsylvania year-round. It now goes to the Game Commission to decide what Sundays they're going to approve. Certain seasons, migratory geese, let's say, is controlled by the federal system of when the hunting seasons are. So this is just a state law, and it's down to the landowner. If the landowner doesn't want to allow hunting on a Sunday, then that's his prerogative, and we need to abide by that. We do have private property rights, but there's state game land. Pennsylvania has a tremendous amount of state game land, and the Game Commission will then authorize, what days of Sunday that you can hunt. And our deer season's quite short. It's only a couple of weeks from a firearms perspective. So, we're only talking a couple of Sundays there. And it may open the archery season up to more ability for archers to go out and hunt on Sundays. And the plan behind that really was more and more people are working to make a living. It's harder for them to take off during the week. So if we could give them another day. And the deer damage, especially in the urban areas, is really a problem, that it gives an opportunity to do some population control in these urban areas that you can't normally hunt on a Sunday.
Bill Bachenberg, we have run out of time, Bill. Bill Bachenberg, president of the National Rifle Association. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Larry. Thank you very much, too. It was a great time to talk about us.